on the warm air, and dragonflies were weaving barn dances over the reeds, and Custard was staring into the water at the fish, who were staring back.
I wonder just how deep this pond is,
mused Custard, with an evil twinkle in his eye.
Bottomless, some say,
said he, dipping his paw into the water.
Well, there's only one sure way to find out, and that's what I aim to do. Deep pond diving expedition today. Anyone who wants to come along, meet at the pond at 1 o'clock,
shouted Custard. Rookie shrugged and sighed. Custard had never been known to have an idea in his life. Well, here's a turn of events. Oh, Custard with an idea, mused Rhubarb, sitting on the fence. I must make the most of this, he grinned, and so with one very wide yawn, he declared, Oh, Custard, must you disturb the peace today? We're all trying to sunbathe.
Jacques Coustard does not care for sunbathing,
smirked Custard.
Water bathing, if you don't mind. You may join me if you wish.
Underwater swimming? I wouldn't go out in a rainstorm with you in charge, sniggled Rhubarb, and all the birds jumped about with delight. Rhubarb had worked out there could be only one motive for this newfound interest in deep pond diving, and that one motive must be deep pond fishing. Ho-ho, he said to the fish, you'd better be prepared. Up in the shed, Jacques Coustard was busy making lots of noise and an underwater swimming machine. All the birds squeaked with delight when the shed door burst open and Jacques Coustard, deep pond diver, stumbled out and flip-flopped his way into the pond. Rhubarb jumped up and down trying to break the fence with laughter, but alas, the fence stood firm. He wasn't as fat as Custard. Jacques Coustard took not the slightest notice of the scoffing, but proceeded into the water and looked about.
How strange,
echoed Custard.
The place was teeming with fish when I looked down from up there. How very odd.
Up on the side of the pond, Rhubarb and the birds were all sitting round with fishing rods and reeling with laughter, together with the fish, who were wearing moonfish bowls. I do believe there are catfish in this pond, barked Rhubarb, and all the fish gurgled with delight. All except Custard Catfish, who surfaced in a very angry mood. The fish thanked Rhubarb and plunged back into the pond.
One day, I'll perfect deep pond fishing, and when I do, you fish just watch out. Jacques Coustard won't be made a fool of a second time.
Carry on with ideas like this, and one day you might get your own TV series. It was Christmas Day at the doghouse, and Rhubarb looked out onto a clean, white world. Good heavens, muttered Rhubarb. What a cool Yule. It snowed, whatever that means. Now I'll have to go out and build a snow dog, and with all this preparation for the party, I'll never be ready in time. With that, Rhubarb went out and announced he was going to build a snow dog. Custard peeped over the fence and wished Rhubarb
A Merry Christmas.
in a sniggling sort of way. And the birds jumped up and down on the roof with such excitement that they sent a whole pile of snow crashing down right on top of Rhubarb. The garden animals erupted into a pantomime of giggles with birds sliding down twigs and bouncing on telephone wires.
How's that for a finishing touch?
Shouted Custard.
Merry Christmas to you.
Shivered Rhubarb at the very top of his bark.
Ha ha ha!
Squeaked the birds.
A moving snow dog. How clever you are.
Righty-ho. Right then, grumped Rhubarb in a cold sort of way.
If you're not careful, I won't invite any of you to my Christmas party. A Christmas party?
Screamed the birds.
Wow, we'll be there. We'll be good.
Rhubarb took them at their word and said to be at the party at 6 o'clock. In the kitchen, Rhubarb set to work in a very busy way, preparing the finest Christmas feast as only he knew how. Rhubarb's Christmas relish, he muttered as he poured his way through his cookery book. Take 7 pounds of the wobbliest jelly and 2 gallons of the sparkliest lemonade and mix them together in a very still bowl. Add 103 giant strawberries and bounce the mixture about. Then pour in the juice of 37 ice creams. Mix 1 second and taste. Tasted Rhubarb. Oh, how clever you are. When Rhubarb had been tasting for 3 hours, the kitchen clock chimed 6 and the guests arrived. Rhubarb's knees turned to jelly when he realized he'd eaten all the feast all by himself.
Just a mo.
Gurgled Rhubarb, with his mouth still full of goodies.
Mary,
Said Rhubarb.
you've eaten the feast.
Squeaked the birds,
You big cheat.
and Rhubarb felt ashamed.
Oh, so I have.
He said in a surprised sort of way. Boo! Said the birds.
Ho, ho, ho.
Said a big, deep voice, and everyone looked around.
It's Father Christmas.
Everyone shouted with delight,
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
said Santa, and came in with a sack full of fat mince pies and orangey drinks and passed them round. Where's poor old Custard? Said Rhubarb in a sad sort of way. He's missing everything,
Here I am.
said Custard, taking off his Santa disguise. Hooray! Shouted everyone, and the party went on till midnight.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
On a quiet night, when the harvest moon was high, a bunch of loose characters were harvesting swag. In other words, they were stealing.
Evening all. Police dog Rhubarb of the Boneyard here. You know there are some characters who believe they have a right to own things that don't belong to them. Now tonight's story proves that those who steal things should keep their paws to themselves.
For the past few nights, Custard has fallen in with some rather bad company, namely Morris Magpie, a rough old jailbird, and a dog-eared character called Bulldog Bertie. Rhubarb has recently noticed that his hoard of bones had been stolen. Last night, the birdhouse had been burgled. Several strings of precious peanuts were taken, together with a flight manual. Police dog Rhubarb and the Bluebird flying squad had a meeting and swore to track down the villains. So began the hunt in the garden. Groundwork is needed to track down criminals, and so by looking at the ground, we see... Paw prints, squeaked the birds. Precisely, my dear birds, exclaimed Rhubarb. I would say that those big prints belonged to a cat burglar. This piece of pink fur says yes. Could it be Custard? Whistled the birds. And the other prints, Rhubarb went on, will be a fat dog and a heavy bird with a limp. Clever, decided the birds. How do you do it? Elementary, my dear birds. In the meantime, on the wrong side of the fence, Custard, Magpie and Bulldog were counting the swag and believed they'd got away with it. And so, as all baddies do, they decided to do just one more job and set off into the night. Rhubarb's plan was to stay up very late and surprise the burglars. And when the flying squad was hidden in the trees, Rhubarb dog-watched from the shed. On and on they waited, until suddenly the bungling burglars arrived. Rhubarb blew his dog whistle, and the gang was surrounded by the flying squad. Caught, pink-pawed, growled Rhubarb, as Custard was climbing up to the birdhouse. And the rest of the gang were rounded up by the flying squad. All the birds clapped as Rhubarb put the gang in irons.
Oh, we've been clapped in irons,
groaned Custard. Serve you right, said the birds. We're ashamed of you, said Rhubarb. Rhubarb and the birds held a court. And Morris Magpie was told to beat it. And Bertie Bulldog was sent packing. Custard, said Rhubarb, crime doesn't pay.
I know.
Grinned Custard.
You're under arrest.
Arrest? Me? Why? Demanded Rhubarb.
For trying to steal the show.
On a smooth night, when the moon was smiling in the sky and was talking with Hugh, who is an owl, Rhubarb was snoring as only he knows how, when a message was delivered by a dreamy courier pigeon called Betty. "Excuse me," said Betty. "Are you General Rhubarb, Little Big Hat?"
Oh, I am,
said Rhubarb in a general sort of way.
Now what can I do for you?
"I have a message from General Custard, sir," said Betty.
General Custard needs help right now. Crow Indians flocking together at Rookery Nook. Bangor!
Barked Rhubarb.
Sound the bungle. General Custard needs help right now.
The bungler blew the bungle, and nothing happened. So nobody came.
Don't panic, said Rhubarb, and galloped off with the bungler.
4 hours later, after galloping in the General's direction, Rhubarb arrived at Rookery Nook. The bungler bungled, and the crows retreated as fast as their wings could carry them.
Well done,
said Custard, and the two generals shook paws.
It's quiet,
said Custard.
Too quiet.
said Rhubarb. Over the horizon, on the other side of the hill, the crows were getting ready for a war party. Broken Wing, the chief, was having his feathers pruned, and his wife, Squawk-a-Lot, was flapping about because she wasn't ready. And when Crow's Feet, the witch doctor, had finished putting on his war paint, Broken Wing gave a speech. "Crow Indians," he said. "Later we will have sport with pink cat called General Custard and green dog called General Rhubarb Little Big Hat. We'll hair 'em, scare 'em," said Crow's Feet. "Let the war party commence." And Broken Wing danced with Squawk-a-Lot, and the others joined in round the campfire.
"Sounds nasty,"
said Rhubarb. Next morning, quite late because they had been dancing all night, the crows appeared on the horizon.
"Now wait till you see the reds of their eyes,"
barked Rhubarb, as the crows bounced nearer and nearer. Rhubarb and Custard let fly with their secret weapon, Custard's pies. And the battle went on all day long. As the sun went down, there was one pie left.
"Custard's last pie,"
said Rhubarb.
"May I, sir?"
You may.
Said Custard, and Rhubarb threw it right at Broken Wing, who was arguing with his wife.
Thank you, General Little Big Hat. You saved the day,
said Custard.
"It was an honor,"
said Rhubarb.
"to have fought with Custard's last pie."
Rhubarb opened a dreamy eye, and then the other. What a dream, smiled Rhubarb. What a hero you were.
"Good morning, General,"
he said to Custard, and strutted off down the garden. Just show me a crow, Rhubarb was thinking to himself, as 6 fat crows bounced onto the fence. It's him you want, shouted Rhubarb, turning on his heels and pointing at Custard as he streaked back to the house. It's him you want, not me, not me.